Let us blossom. Let us sing the song of love and victory, shouted Ribrian as threw off her cloak, revealing a blinding pink light. Brienne! Brienne! Ribrian! What the hell is she doing? Yo-Yo shouted as she shielded her eyes from the light. She's transforming, Hay explained, also covering her eyes. Like hell she is, Kaza shouted, before opening her mouth, charging up a blast, and firing a beam of fire at the center of the light. Kaboom! The beam hit, causing an explosion, smoke, and dust rising up, and obscuring Ribrian from sight. You think that got her? Yo-Yo asked hopefully. Well, that was rude, came Ribrian's voice from the smoke. Not a chance in hell, Kaza growled. The smoke cleared, and it revealed Ribrian, transformed and unharmed. She was an extremely, almost comically fat woman, with a body wider than a barrel, and arms and legs as thick as watermelons, that jiggled every time she moved. She wore a strange sleeveless red and green dress, with matching red pants and green boots. Her dress also had a weird hood that wrapped around her pudgy face and had a weird antenna sticking out of it. Did she just take no damage from that? Yo-Yo pointed out. And also, did she just get fat? Her quirk is called the power of love, La Brava explained. She can absorb love and turn it into power. That fat is actually love that she uses to protect her body like armor. She stole the idea from Fat Gum. It's almost impossible to get through. Maiden's charge, Ribrian shouted, before curling up into a ball and rolling in place for a few seconds, building up speed, before charging at them. Gently rebound. Gentle shouted as he made the air in front of him elastic and jumped back a bit. Ribrian rammed right into the elastic air, slowing her down to a near stop, as she slowly stretched through the air, before ripping through it entirely. What? Ack! Gentle shouted before Ribrian rammed into him, sending him flying into the side of the ship, blood flying out of his mouth. Gentle! La Brava screamed out, tears running down her face. Poof! Ribrian jumped up and stopped being a ball, before turning towards the pirates and making a heart with her hand. Pretty cannon! Pink energy gathered inside her hands before launching out a heart-shaped energy blast right at the pirates. Kaza shot a fireball at it, but the energy just barreled through it right at them. Everyone jumped out of the way, barely dodging it in time and letting the blast fly past them, up into the sky, before exploding in the air. Shit, she's not fucking around. Yo-Yo shouted. Shift. Support me. Pace sends everything at her. Lilith, go get that. Kaza ordered. And Roro, ready the cannons. Rest of you on general support. Look for an opportunity, and make sure that gets to me. With orders given, Kaza launched herself at Ribrian, attempting to grab her, only for Ribrian to bat her hand away, before landing a devastating punch on the side of her face, sending her flying to the left. Gah! Kaza tumbled across the ground, before using her claws to slow and eventually stop herself. Fuck. She rubbed the side of her face, which still stung from Ribrian's punch. Damn, she hits hard. Pretty cannon, Ribrian shouted as she shot another hard at Kaza. Kaza flew up, avoiding the blast. Humph. Pretty love machine gun, Ribrian shouted, as suddenly a bunch of smaller energy hearts at her. Kaza flew around, trying to dodge them until one of them hit her in the wing, stopping her, and allowing her to get bombarded by the rest of the hearts, which exploded along her body, creating small bruises and burns with each hit, as she fell to the ground. With her opponent grounded, Ribrian charged up a more powerful attack. Pretty ca-. Enough! Ribrian stopped her attack when she heard her cousin shout. She turned to the left and saw La Brava standing there, tears in her eyes, looking absolutely furious. Just stop! La Brava shouted at her. Are you trying to kill everyone here? Ribrian scoffed. Minami, these cretins won't die from this. Stop exaggerating. And now that we're talking, what on earth were you thinking? Hacking into the Midoriya Foundation, causing a worldwide panic. Do you know how many people you've killed? Do you know how many people would have died if I didn't do that? La Brava argued. Politicians would have kicked the can on the Midoriya's cure for years, trying to get some kind of advantage and keep him from getting too much power. Disease would have killed millions in that time. But I stopped that. By getting the public mad and applying pressure on the government before they could spew any lies to sate them, we got that cure for people in need all around the world. I didn't think about it that way. Ribrian actually stopped for a moment, considering La Brava's words, before skating her head and putting her determined look back on. Be that as it may, I won't allow my cousin to go around gallivanting with villains. Why? Because it'll hurt your reputation. La Brava spat. Oh please Minami, I'm so beloved in France that nothing you do could harm my sparkling reputation. Ribrian boasted, before getting serious again. I'm doing this because I'm worried about your safety. These people are criminals. They won't hesitate to kill you if you get in their way. Do you really believe that? Gentle would never hurt a fly if he didn't have to, La Brava argued. And the Sky Pirates have never killed anyone. Most of them were vigilantes before they became pirates. Well, excuse me if I don't trust the integrity of criminals I've never met, Ribrian shouted back. And even if that were true, there's still the most important threat to your safety. The Midoriya Foundation. You hacked them and then teamed up with the Sky Pirates, who stole his ship and attacked them regularly. Izuku Midoriya is the most powerful man on the planet, and eventually, he will find you and your friends, and you will get taken in. And when that happens, it won't be pretty. But if I take you down, then maybe I can use my influence to at least save you. Brienne. La Brava softened for a second inside. As much as she'd love to simply tell her that she was working for the guy, she couldn't. Lest she actually make an enemy of the most influential man on the planet. Be that as it may, I still stand by my decisions. I think I did the right thing. And even if I did, I'd never leave Gentle's side. Ribrian scowled. Do you really love that man? True, he dresses rather well and keeps himself well groomed, but he's still a villain. La Brava smiled. That's right. And he stole my heart. Crockham. Suddenly Ribrian was bombarded by the cannons of the Cloud Splitter, which had been getting ready while La Brava and her had been taking. Kaboom! 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 The cannons fired again and again, down on Ribrian's location, creating a massive cloud of smoke and shaking the earth with each shot. After a while longer, the cannons stopped. They were red hot, which meant they couldn't fire anymore due to overheating. For a moment there was silence, as the massive cloud of smoke and rubble around where Ribrian was standing started to settle. Max loved cannon. Kaboom! Suddenly a massive heart burst out of the smoke and smashed into one of the cannons, causing it to explode. The smoke cleared, revealing Ribrian, mostly unharmed. The only sign that she'd been attacked at all was her burned and torn up clothing. Max love! Ribrian shouted as she charged up another attack. Cannon! Kaboom! Another cannon was destroyed. Meanwhile, back with Kaza, Yo-Yo ran up to her, while Ribrian was distracted destroying the cannons. Hey, present from Lilith, Yo-Yo said, handing the captain a mite fruit. That Izuku had given them just in case. Kaza took the fruit and stood up. Roro, can the ship still fly? The cannons on the right side are destroyed, but the flight systems are still fully operational, Roro said over comms. Good. Where the hell are Pei's monsters? Kaza shouted, waiting for the right time. I plan to attack once she's done with the cannons. Pei said using the comms. All right. Everyone, get on the ship. Me and Pei's monsters will hold her off while you guys run. Kaza explained. Wait, but what about you? Yo-Yo asked. Best case scenario, I managed to get away and meet up with you all later, Kaza said. And worst case scenario, I get captured. Whoa, you sure about that, boss? Yo-Yo asked, her eyes widened with both shock and respect. I took up the title of captain, meaning I have to take up the responsibility as well, Kaza explained as she looked down at the fruit. And this is the only way I see us getting out of this. With that, Kaza ate the fruit, quickly devouring it down to its core, before throwing that aside. Rag! Kaza roared as she felt power surge through her veins. Go! Kaboom! Meanwhile, Ribrian finished destroying the final cannon and stopped her assault, as she started desperately searching around the smoke. Manami! Manami! I'm right here. La Brava walked out of the smoke, completely unharmed, much to Ribrian's shock. I told you, they wouldn't hurt me. Shift used his quirk on me to make sure I wasn't harmed while the cannons were hitting you. I see, a clever trap, Ribrian smirked. But it won't work on me. That's fine. You get distracted very easily, La Brava said. Rah! Suddenly, hundreds of monsters that all looked like sea life combined with birds rushed off of the ship and went straight at Ribrian. TCH! Pretty love machine gun. Ribrian shot out dozens of hearts with rapid fire. That slammed into the monsters, destroying dozens of them each, and holding back the horde. Meanwhile, Gentle came in and grabbed La Brava, before bouncing away back towards the ship. What are we going to do now? La Brava asked once they were back on the ship. The captain is going to hold her off while we retreat, Gentle said, looking extremely remorsefully. She's simply too strong. La Brava frowned, and leaned into Gentle to comfort him, knowing that, even if they weren't close, leaving an ally behind was hard for him. I know. Meanwhile, Ribrian had finished turning the entire horde back into paint and looked up at the ship. They went back to that ship. Are they trying to retreat? Ha! As if I would let TH dash. Suddenly she was interrupted by Kaza, rushing her from the side, grabbing her head, forcing her down, and dragging the side of her head through the dirt as she flew. She's flying faster? Ribrian noted, before punching Kaza in the face, and then spinning them around, reversing their position. Slamming Kaza in the dirt with Ribrian on top of her. Slam! 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 Ribrian punched Kaza repeatedly, the first punch creating a crater around them, and each punch after that made it deeper and wider. She cocked back her fist, charging it with even more energy for one final punch, when suddenly, Kaza shot her in the face, with an intense beam of blue flames. Ack! Ribrian shouted out in shock, as she quickly used one of her arms to cover her face. These flames are far more intense than last time. She definitely increased her power somehow. Shink! While Ribrian was distracted by her fire, Kaza sneakily stabbed her in the back with her tail. Unfortunately, all it hit was Ribrian's fake fat, doing no real damage to her. Kaza took out her tail, but Ribrian grabbed it, and then jumped up, back-flipping and lifting Kaza into the air with her, before landing and slamming her down into the ground, hard. Ack! Kaza felt the wind get knocked out of her, leaving her stunned, and Ribrian didn't let up. Slam! 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 Ribrian slammed Kaza into the ground again and again, using her tail to throw her around like a flail. Then, Ribrian, still holding her tail, started spinning in place. Faster, faster, and faster, until the two of them were a blur. Lovely! Cyclone! Ribrian shouted, before using the momentum to toss Kaza aside, far, far away. With Kaza temporarily taken care of, Ribrian turned her attention back to the ship, which was starting up and moving above the ground, slowly rising into the air. No! Ribrian shouted, before pouring powder into her legs and jumping at the ship. Back on the ship, Rora was in the steering room, looking at the machines, and saw Ribrian coming at them fast. Activating shields and cloaking. The shields activated, making the ship invisible, and Ribrian smacked against the shields, bouncing off of them like a ball. Back on the deck, Yo-Yo and Ruff breathed a sigh of relief, seeing Ribrian get bounced off their shields. "Hey, we good?" Yo-Yo asked through the comms. "Yeah, we should be. Our altitude is steadily increasing. We should be out of her range soon," Rower said. "Huh, what's... oh shit." Suddenly, everyone could see a brilliant pink glow rising up from the ground. "The hell is that?" Lilith asked. La Brava's eyes widened. "Oh no." Suddenly, they saw Ribrian's face rise up, but now it was the size of a building. Rising up as she grew larger and larger until she towered over them. A massive Ribrian, the size of a skyscraper, looking down on them. "Super Ribrian," La Brava explained. "Smash!" Ribrian smashed her fist into the barrier, breaking it apart and causing the whole ship to shake. "Shit, our shields are done. We can't take another hit like that." Rower shouted over comms, "It'll take a while for them to come back online. Do not let Ribrian hit us again. I repeat, do not let Ribrian hit us again." La Brava. "Give me your strength," Gentle said, knowing what he had to do. La Brava nodded, and activated her quirk, covering Gentle in a pink glow. RHH! Ruff took all the barrels of sand that were on deck and burst them open, sending the sand up at Ribrian's face. "Gah! How rude!" Ribrian cried as she swatted at the sand to no avail, before eventually getting her focus back, and raising her fist to punch the ship once again. Gentle jumped up at Ribrian, this time activating his quirk to the max, using all of his and La Brava's power to create massive walls and multiple layers of elasticity. Rebound! Ribrian punched the elastic air, her fist going through it, but the air just barely managed to hold it back before it could reach the ship. Damn it! The ship kept rising up and was now at Ribrian's head, and the hero knew she had to take this ship down now. She used her other hand to try and grab the ship, but suddenly, Kaza flew in from the side, having charged up her mouth blast to the max, and fired a beam of pure white fire at her arm, cutting it off. Growling, "You again!" Ribrian glared at Kaza as the arm of her giant avatar grew back. "Love song." Ribrian opened her mouth and a giant pink beam flew out of her mouth, headed right at Kaza. Kaza could only look at the beam and know this was it. It was too fast and too big to dodge, and there was no way she'd be able to keep fighting after getting hit by that. "You guys better get away," Kaza thought. And then the beam hit. Crack-a-cum. The beam burst on impact, creating a massive explosion where Kaza had been flying. And from the smoke of that explosion, Kaza's broken, burnt, and battered body fell towards the ground. Before she could fall too far, however, Ribrian rushed forward and caught her in her giant palms. Safe altitude reached. "Shields are ready. Activating thrusters. Go!" Rora shouted. The shield's thrusters turned on, causing the ship to rocket away, and as the shield turned on, allowing them to vanish completely. Ribrian looked at the spot where the ship had vanished, with a scowl on her face, before looking down at Kaza in her hand. "So you sacrificed yourself so your friends could get away. How noble. Perhaps you pirates are so loveless after all. Although I still won't relinquish my cousin to you." With that, Ribrian kneeled down, gently setting the heavily injured captain down on the ground, before dispelling her giant energy avatar, revealing the real Ribrian which had been hidden in its chest. Once Ribrian landed, her body glowed, and the fake fat dissipated, revealing her true form. A fairly slim and attractive young woman with long blonde hair. "First I'll need to call an ambulance, then a tailor," Ribrian said, looking down at her tattered and burnt-up dress. "Credit where credit is due, those villains were the toughest foes I've faced in a while. This will prove to be a challenge if they keep running a dash." And then Ribrian felt something hit the back of her head hard, and everything went black. Slam! Damn it! Yo-Yo shouted as she punched the side of the ship in frustration. Getting away from Ribrian had come as a massive relief to everyone on board the ship, but after that, they all had to take in that Kaza had in fact sacrificed herself to ensure their escape. Wow, to think that woman would actually let herself get taken down for our sake, Lilith said. Despite her attitude, she always took her job very seriously. Shift added, "It's what made me respect her." "So what now?" Pei asked the rest of the crew. "We need to rescue her," Gentle proposed, before falling to one knee and clutching his chest, some more blood leaking out of his mouth. "Gentle!" La Brava cried, running up to try and support the man as best she could. TCH. Much as I hate to say it, we're in no shape to fight, and even if we couldn't beat her anyway. Yo-Yo spat, before activating her comms. Hey, brains. You have any idea how to rescue the captain? Unfortunately, no. Rower sighed. As much fun as that would be to plan, we don't really need to worry about that. Lowering shields. Huh? Yo-Yo and everyone else looked confused, as the shields lowered for a second, only for Gamma 2 to fly onto the deck of the ship, holding the unconscious and heavily injured body of Kaza. Sup? Gamma 2 greeted. Captain! Yo-Yo cried out joyfully. You got her. She is alive, right? Lilith asked, looking at the poor state the captain was in. Yeah, but she's gonna need some medical attention, and a long time to recuperate. At least if we don't use Midori attack. Gamma 2 explained. How did you get her away from Brienne? La Brava asked, happy but very confused. Oh, that was easy. Once the fight was over and she powered down, Gamma 1 just sneaked up behind her and gave her a quick bonk on the noggin. Gamma 2 told them. Not the most heroic way to go about it, but it's definitely the most efficient. Let's get her to the med bay, Yo-Yo shouted. Don't worry, Captain. We're gonna get you patched up.